Hi everyone. So I'm back. 2 videos in one night. Well, technically it's early morning. And I got my favorite hat on. Okay, so I'm doing part 5 of telling you my life story. Let me move this here for a second, a little bit closer. So this is my crystal skull. He's fluoride. I found him at an antique store. He's gonna be basically sitting on my lap this whole time. So this one is a touchy subject for a lot of people. But I did basically say to myself when I was going to do my story, tell my story on YouTube, that I wasn't going to leave anything out of my life. So tonight's topic is suicidal thoughts and one time that I actually did try to take my own life. Now, this is going to be throughout my whole life, really. So it's not like my other parts where I'm telling you like a chunk of my story. Um, I would say, I think as a younger kid, I never really wanted to stay here, if that makes sense. I don't know if it's because of how I was raised um or what. I know when I was really little, I don't think it was there. I can't tell you when I first had the thoughts of suicide. I can definitely say teenage, like young teenage, probably 13 or 14 when it started coming into my mind. Um, and it was probably a lot to do with being molested. If you guys looked at that video or not, I think having that guilt and that anger and not being able to trust kind of just made me question, why am I even here? Um, so I gotta think back. There was, I'm gonna tell you a story that led me to try to actually take my own life. I was, I want to say 17, 18. I was in my late teens, I can tell you this. And I've been fighting that urge. It always creeped back into my mind. Even when I thought I was doing good, it still seemed to come back. And I wasn't doing too well my home life at that time. I was just so angry at my mom, and I just didn't want to be there. So I actually set in motion um how I was going to do this. And I chose drinking. I thought go out with a bang. Um and so I chose a friend that I worked with that was irresponsible. So I thought that was like the best bet, where, it wasn't going to be someone who would do the right thing. Um So what we did was we just set up just to have a drinking party. Oh, excuse me. And yeah, and yes, I know I was underage. So yeah, I went to her house and we were just drinking so many different things. So I ended up with alcohol poisoning. Now, I don't the last thing I recall was just at her table drinking. And then here's one of the craziest stories. So the last thing I recall is I'm at her kitchen table drinking. Okay. And then all of a sudden, I kind of like opened my eyes, and I remember seeing my mom on my left side and my uncle on my right. And I remember at the top of my lungs, I yelled, like, there's no way that you guys are in my hell. You guys are still living. Like, there's no way you guys are in my hell. And I screamed that at the top of my lungs. And then all of a sudden, this white light, it was so bright that I had to close my eyes. And then when I did that, that's when everything came into focus. And I realized I was in the hospital. And a couple minutes after that, I mean, I remember smelling like vomit. I remember feeling, oh, my stomach was horrible feeling. And then my mom came in, and then my uncle came in. Um, so yeah, I thought that was interesting. But I used to always have like so much hate for them, and it wasn't there. And I remember that very clear, just like it felt like it was yesterday, and you're talking, let's see, 20, almost 20 years ago. But that was a, what was that? And where was the anger that I had? Because it wasn't there anymore. Um, so what I did after that, well, it took me a couple of days um of healing, of literally laying in the bed feeling like crap. And then I needed I needed answers. I needed to know, like, what was the white light? Why did I not see that I was in a hospital? Why didn't I hear anything or anything like that? Oh, excuse me. Why why did I think my mom and uncle was there when they weren't there? Um, yes, and why was, like, the anger I had building up inside me, like, someone took it. So, I needed to know what happened. And that led me to going to, was it Barnes& and Nobles? Barnes& and Nobles with a friend, um, and just researching, like, visions, or I didn't really know what I was going in there for. It was just like someone had to have experience like what I did, which was, I don't remember being in the hospital. I don't remember how I got there. I don't remember throwing up. I don't remember them pumping my stomach. I don't remember any of this. All I remember was that white light and then anger gone. That's it. And then I think I that's when I found a book. I cannot tell you what it was called, but it was like life experience, near death experience. Oh, excuse me. Near death experience. Um, and that day it really changed my life. Um, it just gave me something to do, I guess, instead of always having the anger. It gave me something new, which was discovering what that was. Hmm. Whoa. So yeah, that was almost 20 years ago. And it really, I think, helped me change my emotions. Um, it helped me just move on instead of giving up, you know. Um, And I honestly believe that it was something that helped me, that saved me. So now I am 100% sure that that was angels that came in, and um oh man, I even talked to a angel of death is what they're called. Many years ago, um I came in contact with one that I talked to about that, and he confirmed that yes, it was the angel that saved me, but it was my will that I wasn't ready to go yet. And so therefore I didn't leave. Um Now that wasn't like that didn't change my whole entire existence of like, oh wow, I have something to live for. No. The thoughts would come and go through many, many years of just not wanting to be here. Um I would say I would say thoughts of like how to go out. But just thoughts of I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And yeah, and that happened. I mean, regardless of what was going on, even like when I met my ex-husband, when we got together, nothing would make this feeling just not come back. It would just come back. And it's not like it came back with like a reason. It's not like having a real bad day and then all of a sudden come back. It just randomly would just come back. And throughout my existence here, it would just continue to come back and come back and come back. So, of course, when I lost my son Lawrence, that's in part one of my story. Being 5 months pregnant, lost Lawrence, my son. What do they give you when they send you home? They give you a bunch of pills. I think there was like 60 in the bottle for pain. And I was like, well, it's like, well, that's just convenient. So that night that I came home, I strongly had those thoughts. Oh, that I did not want to be here, that I'd rather be with my son. And they gave me an opportunity. When I looked at the pills on the table, I literally went in like going to do that. Jason was already asleep. So I went in going to do that. And when I went to grab them, I had all these flashbacks and like future things. One of the biggest thing that stuck out was he was going to be the one that found me, and I couldn't do that to him, and that he just lost a son too, and that's just not right. I strongly believe that was my son that definitely came through of like, don't do this. You know, you have a huge thing that you need to fill in this lifetime. That's why I was here. That's why I was created. So I went through a lot of, I mean, I don't say bad things anymore, but I used to. But now I understand it was so I could become this person that as I got into healing, I could help others because I know where you're coming from. Um, So if you have thoughts, if you ever had thoughts, it's not bad. I mean, suicide again, it's a very negative word, like cancer, like it's just so negative that goes in that. And now that I know that basically as a whole human race, we all basically commit suicide when we exit out, because we wrote these stories, our souls. But anyways, back to my suicide thoughts and my one action. Um, so after that, after the loss of my son, I would definitely say they came and went pretty regularly. And it was just something that I think I knew in time I would be okay. It was just not easy at that moment. Oh, excuse me. Woo, must be him. Mhm. um, but yeah, so I still, even once I got divorced and whatnot, I still had like that would just randomly come up. I would even have like really great days, but yet that would still be in my mind of I remember going, I just don't want to be here. Like I just don't want to be here. Um and then I would say that I had that strong feeling again, that very intense of I guess I would describe it as that you're just trying to keep moving on and moving on and moving on, and then eventually you can't go any farther. So I would say, like, in my mind, it was probably like, kinda like, I would describe it as like a dark road of just, what's at the end of that road, and you just keep pushing through on the road, and then eventually, as you go deeper and deeper, feeling alone and feeling, I guess I would say probably a decent amount of sadness, you would just get to the point that you just totally gave up. You're done. You can't just keep living the way you're living. It's done. Um and I went through a lot of different experiences. I would say probably getting into the metaphysics definitely got my mind to start going there. Um and like getting my mind to go elsewhere instead of going back to the whole I don't want to be on this planet anymore. Um but it never fully went away. Um I would say until I was in my mid 30s and I was on the same road again that I normally find myself in, where, you're just going and going and going, and eventually you're going to get to the end of that road where you're just ready to check out, ready to go. Um, and then I had that happen. Let's see. I decided to walk away from my house. The house was just getting too much. It was very old, so everything was like basically needing new roof and everything, and it was just taking money that I didn't really have. So one thing I had to do that I was not very happy about, and I was more disgusted with myself, was I was basically living off paychecks. So what I was doing was I was paying all my bills, but I didn't have like food money, so I had to pay my credit card, but then put food on there. And I got to the point that once I was okay until I needed a new car. Once my one car went kaput, I needed a new car, and I knew like there was no way that how much I was making at my job, which was the IRS at that time, was going to cover the mortgage plus the car plus the insurance went up because it was a brand new car. Um and all the other bills that I had. So I was just basically going month to month, until I finally came to a conclusion that I had to file bankruptcy. It was just something there was just no other option. I was too far in debt. Um, so I went ahead and I did it, and it was one of the greatest things I actually went through, because you have to let go of the whole self hatred of like, oh, you did something wrong, or oh, you're gonna be judged because you filed bankruptcy. It's like, hey, some people have to do it, some people don't. It's whatever the person needs. So when I did that, I actually decided to keep the house when I did the bankruptcy. Even though I could have easily just put the house on and just started over, I was still connected to that house. So I kept the house, and of course, I kept the car. And eventually, it led to the point where I had to just go ahead and leave the house. So I was trying to like give it back to my bank at that time, because apparently you can like allow the bank to come in and pay it off so that you can walk away from it, but not like be a foreclosure. That's the word. So I went ahead and I moved out. I let them know that I moved out. Um, and I learned a lot in that experience of that you can actually stay in a house for about almost a year with not paying the mortgage while they're doing a foreclosure. But I actually left when my mortgage was not behind. I just went ahead and moved into an apartment, let them know. Um, and they went and like changed up the keys and everything. And then I put in the form to do it. And then the found out it came back and was not approved because it was FDH, F, FDH, FHA, yeah, FHA loan. So it was not approved. So basically, I moved out. I tried to do what was called the right thing, and to turn around, they actually foreclosed anyways. And then that started a whole new a year of this. Yeah, I think it took like a full year, if not longer. And then it actually worked out in my favor because then my bank actually turned around and they purchased it for a lower price. Um, but it was almost what was remaining on the house. So, that was quite interesting. There was definitely someone watching out for me on that note, because it wasn't a foreclosure. It was more like they just bought it. Yeah, so that was fun. But as I was going through that frustration of figuring, like, I did everything right. This was my mindset. I did everything right. I didn't sit there and stay at the house when I could have just been banking free mortgage every month for a whole year. That it was just frustrating to see these mortgage payments that I was getting. And then as they had people come in and like do cleaning and all that in the house, they were just charging me and charging me and charging me and on and on and on and on. So that didn't make me feel good at all. And apparently I am a emotional spender. Um, so if I get too like emotional, I'll go and spend, which is kind of funny. Um, Also, like, I also have this thing in my mind of like if I'm having a hard time with money and figuring out bills, then I will get just like so frustrated, and I just need like a little bit of happiness that I would go and like purchase something just to have that happiness for like a few seconds, and then it would be gone. So it never stayed. But that's something that I would do as well. Um, but so, anyways, these suicidal thoughts came back around the time where all this house things were coming. The same thought that I had most of my life, which is don't want to be here anymore. And just remembered saying that. And then, like, my job, I was a caregiver at that point. So at that job, I had to have a car to go to place to place to place to place. And then I was so frustrated with like how the house was going because it wasn't my plan. I was in that mindset of why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me instead of why is this happening for me? But this was many years ago, so definitely shift and change in my way of thinking. But so back to my work, I had to have a job to keep the or had to have a car to keep my job because I literally went from people's homes and took care of them. So I got to the point where I was just so like frustrated with my house, knowing that I did the right thing and I left and I let them know that I was leaving and they act like it was fine, that I was going to get approved, and then to find out that that did not happen. It just got me to just kind of, I guess, set myself up to fail. So I didn't pay my car payment for 2 months, and then they came and took the car. They repoed it. Yeah, repoed it. That's what it's called. And then I was carless with a job that you have to have a car. So then that was just the path. So that road I was talking to that you get in the mind, at least for me, I get in my mind where it's just go, 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 and then eventually there's no more that you're gonna do. Um, so then that happened, and then that's when I was like done. That's when I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm done. Like I'm done. And to me, I knew when that was, because my thoughts would be more of what will be my way out. Just having thoughts of not wanting to be here, was kind of like just me knowing, like, I was starting to feel that unease and that disgust and whatever else that was coming up. But when I started actually thinking of how to exit, that was when I knew I was close to my road, the end of the road. So I remember that, and I remember the thought coming up of cutting, like cutting the wrists is what was coming to my mind, and I think this is over 5 years ago. Um, and at that time, I actually went and like got healing. So don't think like all my healing happened and then I was golden, because that's not the case. I got the healing and I got the release and it helped me, but I still went back to this not wanting to be here, not wanting to be here, because that was just my normal. That's what I always had in my mind. To me, it was extremely normal. I did not know that other people didn't have this thoughts of like just a normal thought. Um, but luckily, I had a friend that helped me out on that. I actually broke down and told someone because with me, I would never tell you what was going on. You would even know what was happening in my mind and what I was really feeling. I got really good at closing off the feelings where nobody could read what was happening or what was going on. But I did reach out to a friend that helped me, and then it shifted of me telling quite a few of my friends what I was thinking about. And yeah, it was definitely not comfortable. That's for sure. It was very weird telling people that I was thinking about doing that. Um, but it was healing too. But at that time, all I felt was that I was uncomfortable. And why do I have to tell these people this? And seeing people's reactions, my friends' reactions to it, was kind of shocking, I would say. I don't think I don't think I really thought that I mattered as much to people than how I mattered to people, if that makes sense. Um, so, just keep that in mind if you watch this, if you lost someone to suicide, or if you're thinking about it. Friends, it's always good to reach out and just talk about it. I mean, yes, you feel vulnerable for sure, and you feel very uncomfortable, but it could very well save your life. Um, so going back to my story, so that happened. I'm pretty sure like a little less than 5 years ago, I think. And then after that, and me actually, what did I get from that? Why was that for what? Why was that happening for me? Was then I got to understand what friendship was and how people cared about me, even though my whole life I didn't think anyone did. So it woke me up to see more in the life than what I was seeing. Um, yeah, in that time. So today I don't have any of those thoughts anymore. Yay. uh I'm trying to see how. I know the biggest thing was talking to people about it, because again, this is like a very negative word, and a lot of people don't feel like they can actually talk about this, because there's a lot of judgment also around that, of taking your own life and whatnot. um but yeah, I would have to say, just talking to friends, just it opened up my eyes to realize I wasn't alone, and that I had a lot of people that was here for me, and if I ever needed to talk, and that I meant something to people. Um, and then I think that kind of started my whole journey of meaning something to myself, because it always comes back to yourself, and centering and loving yourself, because everybody in the world can love you, but if you don't love yourself, then you're not going to receive it. um, but yeah, I'm happy that I don't have the thoughts of um not wanting to be here. And that's probably, to be perfectly honest, as I'm recalling this into my mind, I would say probably on the metaphysics, what helped me was mirror work. um Doing workshops. I really enjoy doing workshops. But also, I went into a hypnotherapist session. I did one of those. I met a lady, her name was Mary as well. That was one. So I decided to go and do that. And I think I did it right after that big explosion Oh yeah, I did. I did get my car back and everything as well. Um, but I reached out to her, and I remember like I got like my taxes back, and I said to go and meet her and just do this session, and I'm glad I did. It brought up uh it brought up a couple of things when I was doing this. It brought up someone that I thought I had a past with that was not the greatest in this lifetime. And then she told me something. She literally was like, "You're gonna do amazing." She's like, "No, you are gonna do fucking amazing thing here." That's how she said it. And then there was two other teachers that I went and learned stuff from that literally said the exact same thing. So I think after the third one, I started to realize there's more to this. Like, there's more. And then I started finding out about wounded healers, where it's healers that have went through very dramatic life events so that they can help others that went through the same. um so like I said, I don't have the thoughts anymore. Yay. um I don't feel that they will ever come back. My mind is too different for that to even be a possibility. Um, I can just say I think the biggest thing that I felt was alone. Oh, excuse me. Was alone, and also not thinking I would be missed. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I don't think so. Um yeah. This wasn't as bad as what I thought it would be. He's helping for sure. Twins. It's great what you can find at antiques. Oh, there's also I love his teeth. Um, yeah, but let me just try to see if anything else comes that I would want to share about the whole suicides. I would definitely say, don't be ashamed of it. Um, Try to talk to somebody about it, and believe in miracles. And this is happening for you, so go with that of maybe change it instead of why is this happening to me, why is this happening for you. um yeah, okay, I don't think I have anything else, so that's my part 5. So as I put in the description, the reason why I'm sharing this was basically to help anyone who is needing help on this matter. Um, yeah. So you got my contact info, um, and now you have my story and my thoughts of it. And yeah, I'm gonna call it a night. My part 6 of my story is sexuality. That's going to be the next one, which is not as low as this one. But I think I kept it pretty good vibration on talking about this subject. Uh, but again, it's just a subject that I think needs to be talked about more. Um, and so people know that are not alone, that there's people out there. So hopefully suicide doesn't continue to have the negative feeling with it. But we'll just have to see on that note. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. He says bye. I think I showed you him. Yep. He says bye. All right. Have a good night, good day, and I'll see you later.